record. You can skip through as need. There's Anisha. There we go. This is gonna be fun.
Oh yeah.
All right. Can you all hear us okay?
Can you all hear us?
And you can use your video if you'd like to. Totally understandable if you don't.
Yeah, it would be awesome to see your faces if we could, but I understand it's maybe you don't want to do that. Can you all hear us, see us? I see that you both have a mute on, so we can't hear you.
You can use the chat box too if you'd like. Sweet. Okay, there's one. Thank you.
Chat box works.
Nice. Okay. Sweet.
We'd love to hear your voices too at some point. But
yeah. We're all friends here.
Yeah. And we're waiting on a couple others, right?
Mm-hmm. Let's see. But as we're waiting, we can go ahead and get started if you'd like, and they can roll in as they roll in.
Yeah.
Sweet. All righty. So this is our official second Faculty Friday that I'm happy to host here with Dr. Fieberg. Just to introduce myself real briefly, my name is Clay Taylor, and I'm an admission counselor here at Center. I'm also a 2016 grad, so I'm very happy to be back at a place that I care about, and very excited to be sharing this place with you all today, and especially introducing Dr. Fieberg with us. So Dr. Fieberg, you can go ahead and take it away.
Thanks, Clay. Yeah, I'm Dr. Fieberg. I'm a chemistry professor here. I've taught at Center for 15 years. I'm actually a Center grad myself. I'm from St. Louis originally, but found Center back before the internet. And then have my PhD from University of Texas, Hook'em Horns.
Okay.
In chemistry, where I stuck molecules on a surface and blasted them apart with a laser. And I tried to understand how that laser blasted molecules apart. So that was literally a blast for my PhD work. I've actually taught 22 years, but 7 years at other colleges before coming back to the alma mater. And so at Center, I teach general chemistry. So I teach a lot of first-year students. I teach physical chemistry, which involves quantum chemistry, which is our current theory of matter, and thermodynamics. And then I also teach a course called Molecular Modernism. And what that is, it's a combination of chemistry and art history. And I've taught that course in London, in our London program, as a Center term course in France for 3 weeks, also in the Strasbourg program. And one reason I got on that is I analyze paintings is what I do for my research. So I've spent a couple of sabbaticals at the Conservation Science Lab at the Indianapolis Museum of Art. And I shoot x-rays and lasers and things like that, just like I did as a grad student, but now I shoot them at a Van Gogh painting. So it's tons of fun. We can talk about the details of that in a little bit. I'm also a faculty advisor for one of the fraternities, and I'm what they call the faculty liaison for the Center softball team.
Nice.
So I get to go to their games. I've actually traveled down to Berry College in Georgia twice with my 3 daughters to follow the team.
Oh, fun.
So that was fun too.
Yeah. Sweet. Well, obviously we're very happy to have you back as a faculty member, especially being a Center student. So I'm interested to know, one, I guess, how did you end up at Center to begin with, being from St. Louis?
Great question. Yeah. So I had never heard of Center College, and if it hadn't been spelled C-E-N-T-R-E, I would have thrown that piece of mail in the circular file with all the other mail I was getting. Like, oh, interesting spelling. I'll take a look at this. And I'm a big numbers guy, and they did a phenomenal job with their brochures. Like I saw, we have a Phi Beta Kappa chapter, which is the most prestigious academic honor society you can have. There's only 2 schools in the state of Kentucky that have one, University of Kentucky and us. So that was, and back then we were #1 in the country in alumni giving percentage. We're still really high. But I chose center. I looked at large universities, middle-sized universities, and then small colleges. And at center, I could continue to run cross country. So I got to still do my varsity sport. I was actually a 2-time all-conference cross-country runner, and we won the conference for the first time ever my junior year. It was tons of fun. So I got to continue that. I also played French horn and trumpet. So I got to continue that. I played in the center orchestra. I was president of the orchestra. Played in the brass ensemble, played trumpet in the jazz band.
Nice.
So I got to do all that, and I was on student government all 4 years. So a lot of the things that I wanted to continue or take to a whole new level, really, in college, I was able to do that at center. And when I walked on center's campus, everyone was just so happy and so nice, and it just felt like home.
Mm-hmm.
And it really was home, and it was an absolute blast. One other reason, this maybe will come up later, is we built our second science building back then, Olin Hall, 1988.
Oh, okay.
And it was going to be, for the physical sciences, and that's what I wanted to do. And so that was a brand new building when I was a student. And now this is an exciting time for you to come to center, or to think about coming to center, because that building is being renovated and expanded, and will reopen in January. So another great reason to come to center now. And so that's another piece of the puzzle. So it was academics, it was the people, and it was the ability to just do a lot of extracurriculars.
For sure. And it seems like you've done you've had a lot of great opportunities as far as like leadership positions and just being involved on campus as a student. So I want to know, how have you seen the academic culture of center change from when you were a student to how it is today, especially being on the faculty side? Like, have you seen a shift of it, or has it been the same?
Oh, great question. No, it's so much stronger academically now than when I was a student. I would say there's a couple of things that have changed a lot. One of the main things that's changed a lot is the ability to do research with faculty members. So we all are involved in different types of research. I guess I could share what chemistry does now. Do you want, let me share my screen
It's a very interactive interview right now. I love it.
There we go. I just want to show you a bunch of the things going on in chemistry. So these are all the different projects going on. We have 10 chemists now. We only had 4 chemists when I was a student, so that's another thing. It's grown a lot, which then makes a lot more opportunities for you all as students to participate in research. So this is Dr. Demoranville. Can you all see the screen? I'm guessing you can.
Okay, I was about to say, you can give a thumbs up emoji too.
Sweet. So this is Dr. Demoranville. He is an analytical chemist, and we have a distillery in town in Danville now that's now on the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. And he actually performs research with the chemists out there. And so they analyze bourbon, and they analyze different flavors of bourbon. They analyze different reasons why it would taste differently. So he actually collaborates with Wilderness Trail Distillery. So that's exciting work. And he teaches a course called The Chemistry of Beer, Wine, and Bourbon. And so you can only take that course if you're a chemistry major or minor. It's got actually quite a bit of prereqs. Mm-hmm. And so the idea is you're really learning about the chemistry of all those liquors, I guess, in lots of different ways. And this is me with a couple students. This is actually from a course that I taught called the Chemical Analysis.
We may be on a different screen, or you may be different. You may be showing a different.
Oh, I'm on a different screen. Oh my gosh.
No worries, though.
Here we go. This is what I'm talking about. Jack minus for me.
Oh, you're gold.
I have 2 screens. That's. Thank you, Clay, for pointing that out. So let me get back to this. Here's Dr. Demoranville with his analytical chemistry of bourbon. So he's able to go to, hello, too big, out to the Wilderness Trail. And then this is me with a couple students in a course, like I said, talking about chemical analysis of modernist paintings. And so this is actually an American Impressionist painting from the early 1900s that we're analyzing in this course. This is Dr. Fulfer. And she works with how to make better batteries is one thing she's looking at. Different ions in solution, because that's how a battery works. You got charged particles that are moving. So she studies those types of solutions with infrared spectroscopy. And what she's able to do with infrared spectroscopy is she can see molecules vibrate and analyze them that way and tell how different molecules are interacting, like water or other things are interacting with the ions in a battery. Dr. Hale here also does research. She did her sabbatical out at the Wilderness Trail as well. She's a biochemist, so she's studying more the fermentation of bourbons. Dr. Musica is an organic chemist. She does more types of modeling on the computer right now, modeling how different molecules interact. One was to try and come up with a new antibiotic. So that's some fun research that she does. Dr. Palmy is our pre-med advisor. We'll probably talk about that at some point. Yeah. She's also an organic chemist, and she's looking at understanding Alzheimer's. And so that's a lot of an interesting research project. And then here's Dr. Scott. Is this big enough on the screen?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Dr. Scott is doing amazing research. He's brought in over $100,000 in grants over the last couple of years. He does anti-cancer drugs. So he's making new synthetic drugs that have shown actually really good anti-cancer and basically anti-cancer, able to knock it out. He likes to talk about killing cancer.
Yeah.
That's what he does, is he kills cancer, but he also designs nanoparticles. I don't know if you all know about nanoparticles, but the thickness of your hair is 250 microns, which is huge compared to these drugs that he's making. Basically, these are about 1,000 atoms wide, is one way to think about it.
Oh,
so
wow.
He's taking new ways to deliver the drug. So the idea is he's making these nanoparticles that can encapsulate the drugs that he's developing in the lab. And then the idea is you'd put them into the body and they go directly into the cancer drug, into the cancer cells. And then they're able to open up and kill the cancer. So he's doing an absolutely amazing research if you're wanting to get with Dr. Scott. And you see he's got a big research group of students that he works with. And Dr. Wachter also she's an inorganic chemist. So she's working with metals and DNA sensing. And then Dr. Workman is an organic chemist who makes new molecules, but also studies the chemistry of volcanic eruptions. And he, along with Dr. Palmy, teaches a course in New Zealand on the physical science of volcanoes. So if you want to study abroad in January in New Zealand, which it's summer there in January, and every class is outside on a volcano. I got to go last January. So I was the third chaperone. And I'm going to have a chance to be one of the faculty members next time when we go there in 2022.
Oh, wow.
So these courses are offered every other year on volcanoes. And so you'd have 2 chances to do that.
And if you're Lord of the Rings fans, you get to visit Hobbit Town, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, you get to go to Hobbit Town. We actually reenact a few of the scenes from the movies where they were filmed.
Okay. That's awesome.
It's tons of fun. And then there's Dr. Young, who is an inorganic chemist as well. And she's working on how to recycle paper better, basically. So this molecule lignin that you see on there is one of the main molecules in paper. And the idea is she's trying to break it down with different catalysts. So maybe should we ask if they have any questions about research now, or how do you want to?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Y'all have questions about research projects at Center? And you can unmute and
show you.
Fire them at us or whatever you want to do.
And if not, totally fine as well.
Yeah, I could just I could talk all day about all this. So yeah, so many opportunities at Center. Bottom line, you probably know about the Center commitment, which is that you'll graduate in 4 years, study abroad, and do a research
or
internship.
Yeah.
And so this is a good way to go with that. In fact, this is a great time to come to center because we're bringing out a brand new general education curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
And research is a part of that. Research mentoring is one of the options you can do to fulfill one of the general education requirements. I see there's a chat in here about the 3-2 program for engineering. That's a great question. That's part of my story way back when, because I actually came to center thinking I would do the 3-2 engineering program. And so I fell in love with center after 3 years and couldn't leave. But there are several people that do the 3-2 engineering. I just advised 2 who are now going to UK.
Yep.
So I would say we average, I mean, it's not a huge number because most people fall in love with center and don't want to leave. But we also have a lot of people do 4-2 engineering.
Mm-hmm.
I would say in a given year, we average 1 to 3 maybe that do the 3-2 engineering. And Dr. Rodenborn in physics is our pre-engineering advisor. So he'd be a great person to reach out to talk more about that. So yeah, a few people do it each year. And like I said, we have this program with Washington University as well.
Mm-hmm.
And they do.
They love us.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah. And they're really pushing more of like the 4-2 where you get a master's degree now instead of 2 bachelor's degrees. Because that's how the 3-2 works, right? You go to center for 3 years and then go to WashU or Columbia or UK. Mm-hmm. For the other 2 years, and you get 2 bachelor's degrees, one in chemistry or physics from center, or maybe chemical physics. We have that as a degree. That's actually what I majored in, was chemical physics. Mm-hmm. And then you'd get an engineering degree from the other school. Mm-hmm. And we have one student going to Columbia right now that's just starting there, and one going to WashU. So it's a real thing. The reason I didn't do the 3-2 program is I did summer research in engineering. And I figured out that I love science much more than engineering. Now, and I didn't realize how different they are, but they really are different. And my oldest daughter is actually majoring in mechanical engineering. So I get to see those differences daily as she's home, right now in the basement doing research with her professor. So,
active household.
Yeah, my second daughter's going to be a first-year student. She wants to major in neuroscience, so we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Let's see. Freshmen also participate in research. I see that question in the chat. And the answer there is yes. I just had a student work with me all 4 years. She just graduated. She actually came in as a studio art major. Her name is Emma Huckstein. And she came from the Pittsburgh area where she had been blowing glass for 5 years before ever coming to center. And she wanted to come to center partly to work with the glass studio and partly to work with me to design and refabricate ancient glass colors. In fact, I could, let me see if I can bring up a quick PowerPoint on that.
Yeah.
Let's see.
And as you're doing that, I can dive in a little bit more to the question too. There's been a lot of first-year students who actually come onto campus this summer leading up to their first year to conduct research with professors at center. So yes, first-year students are allowed to do research with professors. Professors are usually pretty open about it as long as you're vocal about like things that you want to explore and like want to dive into specific areas. As long as you're vocal about it with professors, they'll be more than welcome to find opportunities for you to do your research.
Definitely. Definitely. And one of my first students that worked with me at center also worked with me all 4 years. And then he went to University of California, Berkeley to get a PhD in immunology, which is one of the top places.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen again. If I can get to the right thing here. I got to get back to Zoom. Too many windows open. All right, share screen. Can y'all see that? This is gonna talk about later. All right. So this was the chemistry of glass for Emma Huckstein. This is actually a presentation she gave her very first year to members of the board of trustees that came in. And so she had already analyzed. So this is some ancient glass. In our library, we have an ancient glass collection. So here's one of the pieces there that she wanted to remake, say, this old yellow color. And she also analyzed this blue vase. And again, this color is no longer used. They use more modern synthetic chemicals to color glass. And so what she did was she took an X-ray fluorescence analyzer, analyzed the chemical makeup of the glass, and then over the next couple of years, she mixed and matched the different chemicals to come up with the blue color, and we analyzed the color with a few different instruments. And then she could use that color in her glass work, was the goal. And the interesting part of her story, she came in as a studio art major, started getting into science just kind of as a hobby almost. And then her sophomore year was like, ooh, I really like this science. And then by the time it was time to declare a major, she declared a chemical physics major.
Huh.
And by the time she graduated, she actually double majored in chemical physics and physics. And now she's going to graduate school in chemical physics at the University of Maryland. It's a really great story for how the liberal arts, you think you might do one thing, and then you see a connection between another area, and then it changes your entire life. Like that's what happened to me.
Same, yeah. And that's what we were talking about it leading up. I mean, there's so many interdisciplinary cross sections as you continue on as a student here. I thought I was going to be a math major going in, and then I got to a certain point where everything was just getting way too out of whack for me to comprehend. But I knew I still wanted to work with numbers, so economics and finance was able to not necessarily save me, but it was able to put that outlet into another resource so I can expand onto that topic. So there's a lot of and you get to equally learn a lot about yourself too at a liberal arts institution, because all the different new scenarios that you're being thrown in as a student. So
that's totally true. And we have in our new general education curriculum, we have this what's called DLM-3. So the DLM stands for our motto, our Center College motto, Doctrina Lux Mentis, learning is the light of the mind. And the idea there is you'll take in your first year, and maybe you've already, some of you are students who are coming here this fall. I don't know if you've yet filled out a survey or how that works. Anyway, I know you're registering next month, but you'll take what's called a DLM-1 course in the fall and a DLM-2 course in the spring. The DLM-1 course will focus on written communication, but the topic could be anything. And in the spring, you'll have a DLM-2 course that will focus more on oral communication. Again, the topic might be anything. And then your junior or senior year, you'll take a DLM-3 course. And that DLM-3 course, by definition, will be interdisciplinary. And so I'm really looking forward to teaching my course that's usually cross-listed in chemistry and art history, this molecular modernism course. I'm looking forward to teaching that as a DLM-3 once you all are juniors or seniors.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. And it just goes to show like how adaptable you can become in those situations too, because, and I've learned that for myself as well, just the amount of presentations I've had to give and like the papers I've had to write, like it just all helps into the goals that you want to get after graduation. And it's all great stepping stones to take advantage of as a student. So
no question. No question. I mean, I could, if you'd like, I could tell you how I got into analyzing a Van Gogh painting. Like, how did that ever happen?
Yeah, dive in, please.
And it really goes to my whole center college education. So the old gen ed that just is going out, instead of DLM-1, DLM-2, we took what was called Humanities 1 and 2. And in this humanities course, you learned about Greek and Roman art. You read Homer. So you did sculpture, you did some music in the second half, you did Renaissance painting. What do you remember, Clay?
Dante's Inferno.
Right, Dante's Inferno. So that we've changed that course now, but that course, I didn't realize that I liked painting and art until that course, because I didn't take any of that in high school. All of my high school stuff was music. And so that course made me realize, hey, this painting stuff's kind of cool. And then my senior year at Center, I studied, we have a center term that's 3 weeks long. Back when I was a student a long time ago, the winter term was 6 weeks long, and we took 2 courses. And so I studied an art and architecture course and a music course in Europe, in Paris, Florence, Munich, and Amsterdam.
Jeez.
And
God.
that, oh my gosh, those courses were absolutely incroyable
Right.
and incredible.
Especially
And
being there, like actually being physically there. I mean, that is a whole nother experience in and of itself.
yeah, it changed my life, because it was in the Centre Pompidou in Paris. That's a modern art museum that I was like, whoa. If we were in my other room, you'd see one of the paintings that like got me on this trajectory. But the idea is that, how did we, and it would be it's an abstract painting. Kandinsky's my favorite artist. He's the person usually given credit for going to complete abstraction. And so I was like, wow, I just love the paintings. Like, they just spoke to me. And he was trying to paint music. And that's part of what I've always done a lot with music, playing French horn and trumpet. And so I didn't realize why I loved it originally, but now that I know more about his paintings, I'm like, oh, that's why. But I love telling the story in my class. How did we get from realistic paintings to complete abstraction?
Mm-hmm.
That's the story of my study abroad courses. So you go from realism to impressionism. And in my study abroad courses, we are literally walking where the Impressionists painted. So we go on the Chemin des Impressionnistes, which is the trail of the Impressionists outside of Paris. And we walk on this like 8-mile hike. We walk and see 36 different painting sites of where Monet painted, Renoir painted, just a ton of different painters and painting sites, which is absolutely incredible.
Mm-hmm.
But then you go from Impressionism to Fauvism, like crazy colors, to the Cubists. Eventually you get to abstraction. So that's the art history part of my courses that I teach. And then we also talk about the scientific analysis of paintings, along with the reason the Impressionists could paint in these really bright colors is that chemists invented all new pigments. From, a lot of the colors they painted with didn't exist out in nature. Mm-hmm. So the reason the Impressionists can be known for all their bright colors are the chemists, golf clap chemists. Anyway, so it's totally brings like the science and art together. Like, every day is truly interdisciplinary. It's like, oh, not like we put the science a little bit and then the art. I mean, it's every day we're talking about biology of the eye and vision and how we see paintings and different effects that Monet would be able to use to make like the sun undulate and things like that. So just tons of fun. And so it was really Center that got me to do that. And so for y'all watching this video, you never know what part of the Center experience, academically, co-curricularly, extracurricularly, is going to change you and launch on an entirely different trajectory throughout life. So like after Center, I went and got my PhD. I used all these techniques to study surfaces of metals. And now I use all those same techniques to study surfaces of paintings. So, but again, it's all because of my background at Center that I even had an interest in art and would want to analyze Van Gogh paintings and things like that.
Yeah.
Sorry to talk too much. Clay,
gosh, no, this is gold.
Y'all have more questions? Put more questions in the chat anytime. I love questions. I love getting questions.
And there's also another interesting connect of how you even got to touch or analyze a Van Gogh painting too, because of the Indianapolis Museum. So there's a Center grad who works there who got you to connect, and Gregory Smith.
That's right. Greg Smith is a 95 Center grad. So he was a first-year student the year after I graduated. Let me see if I can show you his lab, because it's absolutely amazing. But yeah, he's a Center grad. He started up this lab from scratch.
Okay.
And yeah, let's see. All right. Let's Here we go. Here we go. All right, let me share the screen. And let me jump over to this here. All the technology takes a little time, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I guess I will intervene while you're
Yeah,
pulling it
please.
up. But as far as the study abroad experiences, those are still readily available today. I know that that's one of the pinpoint reasons of Center being so prominent as it is. But those courses are still being taught and still evolving as we continue on in this world that we're living in. And I think that's one of the pivotal points that helps Center be so special is because one, you're in central Kentucky, so I don't think anyone expects that a little small school from central Kentucky can have so many opportunities for our students to take advantage of, especially abroad. So I think that's one of the most interesting things that I found at Center that really pulled me in, and I was like, I can leave the country from going here, and it's like a guarantee. Like, what do you mean? So that's a huge pool that I was able to take advantage of. Sadly, I didn't study abroad when I was here, but I was able to go to Ireland through football. So,
Oh, right.
I
Yeah.
got my study abroad mix and fix going in. So,
Yeah, Ireland is awesome.
oh my gosh, I think about it almost every day.
Yeah.
What
And
did
that's what most of my former students are like, oh, I think about that study abroad course
you,
every day. So can y'all see the screen can y'all see, Clay, can you see the lab?
I don't see it yet. No.
Oh, maybe there's an extra, golly, I'm sorry.
Um,
I thought I had it rolling.
No, you're gold, and I'm going to go ahead and answer a question. Yes, pre-med students do have a chance to study abroad. Thankfully, our professors know that that is a pivotal point for our students to take advantage of. So, yes, and I believe there are some pre-med courses and abroad opportunities as well. I've known some students who have done some pre-med work in Merida, I believe, and they were able to work at a local hospital down there. So there's a
Yeah,
lot. Yes. Short answer, yes.
yeah, we have internships in Merida
Mhm.
during the center term. So you can go down there for 3 weeks and work with a physician. We also, as part of our Scotland program in Glasgow, there's anatomy and physiology courses that are part of that. So you can take some pre-med courses there.
I believe Honduras is one too. I believe, or that may have been just someone's individual opportunity, but I do know of a student who has done some collaborative work at a hospital in Honduras as well.
Yeah, and then there are opportunities you can find on your own. There's also research in, like, if you were pre-veterinary, maybe we also have research in Barbados. We
Yes.
have a couple of our behavioral neuroscientists go down there and study the behavior of monkeys down in Barbados. So they go there at least once a year, I think, in the
I
summer.
think it's over the summer too, so it's like it's a equally a great vacation opportunity for students to take advantage of.
Yeah, yeah. So here's the lab at the Indianapolis Museum of Art, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Can you see it now?
Yeah, we're good.
It's absolutely gorgeous. So Greg, here's Greg. He's a 95 grad. He designed the entire lab. He started the lab. He designed, in the back here, you can see a wood carved part periodic table that he invented. And it's one of the very few science labs at museums. So most museums have conservation labs, but very few have actual science labs. This shows the few museums that do.
Huh.
And this is maybe a better view of the entire lab. It was actually last year voted the #1 gorgeous lab by the American Chemical Society in the country. So
Oh,
it's part of a big competition, and he won it.
go Colonels.
This is an X-ray fluorescence analyzer. We have one of these at Center. I wrote 3 grants to get one. It's a $40,000 instrument that basically can analyze the pigments in seconds of wherever you go. So this is an instrument that you could use with me at Center to analyze various paintings and and this is the same instrument that was used by Emma on the glass, to analyze the glass.
Okay.
Okay, so that is the lab. I don't know, do we want to, do we have other questions there from?
I didn't see any.
Okay, do you want me to talk about the analysis that I did?
Sure. Yeah.
at,
Gloria,
okay.
yes, please.
Here we go. Whoops, I hit F5 instead of what I should have done was hit the slide we were on. Check minus for me again.
Oh, your gold.
It's all good. All right, here we go. I'll hit the right button this time. There we go. Can you all see that?
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this painting. It's at the Cincinnati Art Museum. It is painted by Van Gogh in the last 5 weeks of his life. It's called Undergrowth with Two Figures. And it is becoming one of the most well-known Van Gogh paintings for several reasons. One is that we analyzed it and published our analysis of it. And one is it was part of a worldwide tour of Van Gogh paintings, and it was in the Philadelphia newspaper. They talked about how this was the most amazing painting of it. But let's think about it a little bit more. Here's a description by Van Gogh. He's got all these letters. And he wrote, then I have a canvas, and he talks about this canvas as being an undergrowth, lilac trunks of poplars, and underneath them some flower-dotted grass, pink, yellow, white, and various greens. Do y'all see any problem with that description? And I can't see the chat with the way I'm doing it. Maybe you can let me know. Do y'all see any problem with that description? This is the interactive part of being at center. I need y'all to respond.
Where's the problem? There you go.
What did they say?
No pink.
Where's the pink? That's right, there's no pink. So what we did was we did a whole analysis. These are the letters from Van Gogh. It gives us some clues about the paint he used. He used this paint called Lac Geranium, which is like a geranium lake is what it's called. And underneath the frame, you can still see some pink. Look at, there's a little pink flower. So why would you see flowers underneath the frame that are pink, but in the middle of the painting there's no pink? What do you got? What do y'all think? Why would there still be pink flowers under the frame?
Nothing yet. I can put it at the end.
Y'all can just unmute too.
Age over time.
What's that? What does it say?
Maybe because it's supposed to be just an undergrowth.
Could have been just there, but that's a good guess. But
any other takers?
What about the frame? What would be different from the flowers underneath the frame from those in the middle of the painting? Bottom, I'll just go. Bottom line is,
I can imagine their wheels are spinning right now.
Yeah. So this is the whole, it's tough for me, like the whole Zoom thing. I can't wait to be back on campus with y'all. Anyway, so the idea is that it's a light actually fades the previously reddish pink paint and makes it fade to white. And underneath the frame, those flowers are protected from the light. So here is actually what's called a paint cross-section. This whole paint chip is under a microscope. It's magnified. The whole thickness of that thing is less than the thickness of your human hair. And so what it is it shows the top part of it is the surface of the painting. You can see the filth and grime and muck in there. Way deep in the painting, that reddish pink paint is still there. But on top, the white, you can see here that the light faded the paint to white. And so it looks like white now. And this explains how the analysis works. I'm going to jump back a couple slides. And so what we did was, this is the same type of X-ray fluorescence analyzer. And this painting is really expensive. So this was one of my most nervous things I've ever done. I had to bring that analyzer within about a couple millimeters of the surface of the painting. And so, whoops, on the next slide, this shows how close I had to get the painting. And then the idea is, man, you can see the thickness of Van Gogh's paint in there. So this is a whole analyzer. The x-rays come out. One of these, there's a detector, and then there's also a camera, so I can see exactly where I am. Let's skip this. So right here, the red line, maybe we're getting into too many details now, but the red line is the pink, a flower paint where it used to be pink, and the green line is a white piece of paint that was always white. And so bromine is in the geranium lake paint. And so the idea is if we see bromine, that means that that flower was originally pink. If we don't see bromine, the flower was always white. And so the idea is over 4 days, I analyzed 387 of the white flowers in the painting, and that's what's shown here. And then what we did was we looked for bromine. If it was there, we knew it was originally pink. If not, it was white. And we made a digital reproduction, a digital reconstruction of what the painting more closely looked like right after Van Gogh painted it. And so you see about 38% of the flowers were originally pink. And so you can see in here that we injected the pink color just with Adobe Photoshop, basically. Put it back in there. But your eye moves around the painting a little bit different. Around the couple, a lot of people like to think of this scene as like a wedding scene, a couple walking between the poplar trees. The white flowers makes it more seem like a wedding scene. So I actually wanted those to be white around it. Turned out they were. So yeah. And then this is my course that I teach in France, where we go down, we end in Nice on the beach in January. So that's always fun. And this is on that trail of the Impressionists. We eat, this is where Renoir painted. We eat a meal there. And so we start in Paris. We move to southern France. Van Gogh lived in Arles. Cézanne lived in Aix, and then Matisse lived in Nice. And so we travel around all around southern France. And so, I can give you some highlights of that if you like, but that's a whole nother thing.
Whole nother topic.
I want to make sure I get to y'all's questions. So fire questions if
For sure.
you have anything to do with this, or Clay, I'll let you.
Either or, yeah.
I don't see the pink. Yeah, I see that on the chat. So, yeah, anyway, bottom line, there's tons of opportunities for all kinds of different things at Center. Study abroad, research, classes.
And our Center for Career Professional Development can help you with that as well, including the professors. I mean, it's a collaborative work. So as I said, as long as you're vocal about what you want to get out of your college experience, we can find a route to get you to that experience that you want to get. So, and that we do a very good job of doing that as well. Very good job. Here we go. What kind of topics do you learn in DLM 1, 2, and 3?
Yeah, they can literally be on anything. So I guess I could bring up
example.
Yeah.
I don't think I have one on hand right now, but I do know it's very interdisciplinary. Like I think we're gonna have like I want to say it's a mix of like history and science in one of them. It's gonna be like two. You'd probably know more about it than I do.
Yeah, I thought I would. I'm going here to bring up the course catalog.
Okay, yeah.
Shows all of them.
Yeah.
So let me just give me a second for that. But literally, there's professors from every field on campus that are teaching these. And I'll bring up the list, and then you'll see that it can be almost anything.
I think that's even fun too, because it shows that our professors too are starting to learn with the students as well as they're teaching. So it's all about building a community, and everyone's going to be learning together as they go through these courses. So it's going to be fun for everyone involved.
Definitely. Share, and then bring up DLM. Look at this. Oh no! Check. It doesn't have the titles. Just list them as. But we've got
the professors though.
Yeah, we've got an art historian, a religion professor, a sociologist, a Spanish professor, history, German, chemistry, and English together. Music. I wish I could show you the titles. They're
classical
really
studies. Film. I see Dr. Peebles film.
Yeah.
In there.
Yep, film. Yeah, there's so many options. I think if you're first year students, you probably, I don't know if you've been sent the list yet.
They may have, because I know some students are starting to select their courses. So, because they just got through with placement testing a few weeks ago. So,
Okay.
and I think like advisor meetings are starting to open as well soon. So,
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, in the past, the way it should be similar to FYS, but I'm not sure if that's how they're going to choose them. If you'll put like your top 4, or I'm not sure how you all will be able to choose which course you want to be in. But the idea is that there's only going to be about 15 students in each of them, and the idea is that you have this really small group interaction. Like I said, you'll focus on writing in the first DLM and speaking in the second, but you'll do a little bit of the other in each. So a little bit of speaking in the first DLM 1 and some writing in DLM 2. But the topics are all over the place.
yeah.
What other questions do y'all have?
It could be anything. This has been great, though. Great content. Yeah.
I hope so.
Oh, you know so. It's been awesome.
Tons of fun. I can show you the types of things you might do if you wanted to do research with me. I can talk about a forgery that I did on campus. Would you like to hear about that?
Here we go.
A forgery analysis?
Yeah. How can I prepare during the summer for science courses?
Great question. Great question. That's a really good question. In the summer, so if you had an AP course, maybe you could review some of the materials for that as if you were studying for the test. You could reach out to your professor. Your professors, I think, will reach out to you after mid-July, maybe before that, because they want to get to know you early on, especially with this fall. With the intense nature of the block schedule, it's going to be a lot of fun to teach you because you'll get to know your professors really well over the 6-week course. So I think it depends on the science course. If it's more math-based, you might just want to review some of your math as well. Like if you're in physics or chemistry, that could help. And what I would say is reach out to your professor and they'll let you know what to do. And you're registering by July 16th, I believe.
I believe so.
I think that's when you'll know. So
you'll have it. As I'm like looking at the registrar's office from my window, I'm like, should I go ask him?
Yeah. Yeah, and I wish I could gather more info from you, like what you're worried about and those types of things. I would say if you're
the professors will not leave you in the dark when you come to campus. They are the office hours. Some even give you their cell phone number or even address since they live walking distance from campus. So they are not going to leave you in the dark. If you have questions, they're going to be there.
I'm telling you, office hours are my favorite part of the job because that's where we can talk about things one-on-one and take as much time as you want to really understand the material. So definitely, I'm glad you brought that up, Clay, because sometimes I forget, like in high school, that's not really a thing. But at Center, it's one of the reasons that we teach there is we love interacting with you as students. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
And so don't be intimidated or scared to go to office hours because that is some of the best learning that you can do will be in office hours. And so again, I guess that couples into me suggesting that you reach out to your professor in the summer before you come. Yeah. I mean, I would also say maybe one of the best things to do is just relax a little bit. I know if you're an incoming first year, I have a daughter who just graduated and is heading to, I mean, sometimes you just need to relax a little bit or do your work if you can find a job and focus on that and have, spending money for during the year. Like sometimes you can get burned out if you try to be too intense in the summer.
And self-care is very, 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 very important.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard that yet, it is very important. I know when I was a student, nap time was I had to take my nap and it could not be interrupted. So, yes,
Oh, yeah.
for sure, for sure give some weight off your shoulders if you have any worries about coming into the center in general. Like as I said before, like the professors are eager to meet you and they're eager to help you as well. So we'll get you through.
Yeah, there's two parts of what we tell our professors that for if they're doing their job, right? Is A, they need to be challenging to you, which so you will be challenged, but then the part of that that couples with that is the support. So the idea is challenge with support. And that's what center is all about. I guarantee you'll be challenged, but I also guarantee that we're there for you, both professors, both non-professors, advisors, the career for professional development. What's that?
I mean, the peers, I mean, the student sitting right next to you is going to be going through the same thing. So study hours with other peers is very big as well on the campus too. And I think that's another thing that's really cool about center is because there's a lot of interdisciplinary grades. Like there's no really set like first year. I mean, there's like set first year classes, but other than that, you're going to be mixing with a whole bunch of upper class students as well. So it's a great mix of community that you'll be able to reach out for different resources to take advantage of, really. So,
yeah, no question.
So this has been fun. I do have one more question for you, if you don't mind me asking. Did you ever think, like, did you have it in your plan to come back to center to teach, or was that just a wonderful opportunity that you're like, yes, I'm going to hop on and see where this goes?
Yeah, great question. So like I said, I was going to do 3-2 engineering all the way through undergrad until junior year. I went to the University of Texas in the summer and performed research in engineering and realized I didn't like it. So then senior year at center, I'm like, what am I going to do with my life? And I was like, wow, I love this liberal arts college environment. I'd love to stay in this type of environment. And I love helping people. Those were the two reasons. I was like, I'm going to go get a PhD and teach at a place like center. And at the time, like to answer your question, I didn't want to come back to center because I wanted my student memories to be student memories.
For sure.
But I got tenure track jobs at 2 other places. And I was up for tenure at one of the places when the center job came advertised. I'm like, I gotta try for it at my alma mater. So yeah, so I applied for this one job, got it, and man, it's just been awesome being back ever since. And I think that's what you want. You want center grads that if they come back, you want them to go out there and have different experiences for a while. So it took me 14 years to get back, right? I was at 4 different schools before coming back to center. And so I brought all kinds of different experience with me too back here. Right. And it's been an absolute blast. The opportunities to teach abroad and bring my family abroad, like my daughters are fluent in French because they went to French schools. Like my daughter's president of the French club at her college, and she hasn't even taken a course. Like, so these are the types of things that can happen to you as a student coming to here, right? It's just, there's so many opportunities. You're gonna love it. And I would say the one piece of advice that you'll probably have to listen to is it's hard to reel it in as far as the number of activities you want to do. And it's better to focus on a few things, even though I didn't. I named all those. I did, but I think we recruit students that absolutely love doing all these things. It's got to be because the other 2 liberal arts colleges that I taught, the students weren't as involved as at center. I mean, it's just there's so many things always going on.
And I think you're right. I mean, that's one of our main things where we're looking for students. We're like, all right, what do they do outside of the classroom? Like, how are they involved? And that's something that center really does well. And I'd say the majority of students are involved within like 3 to 6 organizations on campus, sometimes even more. So, and I think something that we really do well is showcase what we have to offer as well. So within the first week of being on campus, we shut down our main street. It's called Walnut Street. We shut that down. It's basically a big block party, but it hosts all of our, it's called Expo, and it hosts like all the organizations and clubs and really local community services. Like everything lines up and down Walnut Street, so you can see the opportunities that you can take advantage of as a student. And it's a really fun time on campus because, one, it's a big reunion. It's one of the first times on campus where you can see everyone on campus as well. And of course, there's a lot of free stuff that's involved as well. But again, you get to see all the opportunities that are hosted on campus and then figure out, okay, which can I be involved in? Because I know sometimes after Expo, students start getting the emails for the things that they signed up with, and they're like, oh, so that's what involvement is. So sometimes you got to scale back, but again, you're learning about yourself as well as a college student in general. So you get to understand time management, priorities as well, because you are still going to be a student too. So it's a really great learning opportunity, not only for you to take advantage of, but you also get to learn about yourself and other people too.
Well said.
All right. Well, again, this has been awesome. We are about to wrap up here soon, but do you guys have any questions before we head out? Maybe? Any last words?
You can unmute or chat, either way.
Sweet. You're most welcome, Gloria. It's been
Yeah,
fun. We can't wait to see you soon as well.
definitely. Hey, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you all for coming. If you all need any contact information, if you want to reach out to Dr. Fieberg after this, I believe it's just Jeffrey.Fieberg at
Or
center.edu,
maybe
right?
just Jeff.Fieberg.
Jeff.Fieberg.
Maybe they both work, but Jeff.Fieberg. Yeah.
Okay. And my email is c.taylor at center.edu. So you can find both of us on the directory if need be, or reach out to anybody really, and we can track back to us. So
Definitely, I'd be happy to. Yeah.
all right. Well, this has been fun.
Yeah, definitely, Clay. Thanks for hosting.
Of course.
Thanks
Yeah.
for the invite.
Thank you. It's been fun. I hope you all enjoy your Friday, and especially for you folks in California. I know it's very early in the morning for you, so enjoy the rest of your day. And yeah, this has been fun. Thank you all.
Yeah, have a great weekend and come see me when you arrive on campus.
Yes, we will be around.
All right. Thanks, Clay.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right.